The first official images from Mortal Kombat 2 have finally dropped. And let's be real, we've been waiting for this moment since the sequel was announced. The hype around this movie has been insane, especially because it's bringing in some of the franchise's most legendary characters, ones we wanted to see in live action for years. And now, with these brand new images, we finally get a taste of what's coming. But that's not all. The filmmakers also gave a huge interview where they revealed a ton of new details about the movie, the characters, and how it's evolving from the first part. First, look at Johnny Cage. Let's get straight to the biggest reveal. Our first full look at Karl Urban's Johnny Cage. Ever since his casting was announced, fans have been seriously divided. On one hand, you had people saying he's too old, doesn't fit Johnny's typical look, and just isn't the right guy for the role. On the other hand, there were those who believed in Urban's raw charisma, especially after his performance as Butcher in The Boys. They trusted his acting chops and had faith that the magic of cinema would bring Johnny Cage to life in a way we hadn't seen before. Early leaked set photos and behind-the-scenes shots already gave us glimpses of his transformation, his signature belt buckle, and even an uncaged Fury movie poster. We also saw that Urban lightened his hair and shaved off his beard, clearly making an effort to embody the character. But now, with this first official image, we finally see what he actually looks like in full Johnny Cage mode. And honestly, it's a lot more convincing than many expected. The pose, the attitude, the leather jacket, everything about this shot screams Johnny from the games. It's got that perfect mix of cocky showmanship and fighter confidence. Not a copy, a new take. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Ed Boon has already confirmed that Urban's take on Cage won't be a one-to-one recreation of his video game counterpart. Instead, Urban is bringing his own energy, his own style, and a fresh interpretation to the character. Now, whenever you hear something like that, there's always that moment of hesitation. Will it still feel like Johnny? Will they change him too much? According to insider reports from test screenings, Karl Urban is an absolute scene stealer. Apparently, he delivers some of the funniest lines in the entire movie and instantly became one of the most talked about characters. And let's be honest, that's exactly what Johnny Cage needs to be. If Urban really nails that perfect mix of arrogance, humor, and action star swagger, then Mortal Kombat 2 might just give us one of the best live-action versions of Johnny Cage we've ever seen. The scene. What's hiding in the background? Let's talk about the scene itself. If you look closely at the background, there are some really interesting details hiding in plain sight. Right behind Johnny, we can see Jax, Liu Kang, and Sonya, which immediately raises the question, where exactly does this moment take place? Is this a training session for Earthrealmers? Or could this actually be an arena showdown about to go down? But the real intrigue comes from the upper right corner of the frame. If you zoom in, you'll notice shadowy figures holding what look like halberds or similar weapons. And for longtime Mortal Kombat fans, that instantly brings back memories of the classic game arenas and even the original 1995 movie. Everything about this shot suggests that Johnny is already in full fight mode, just moments away from stepping into a serious battle. A sequel with bold moves. With this first official look, it's clear that Mortal Kombat 2 is staying true to the essence of the franchise while still making bold choices. The first movie had its fair share of ups and downs, but if Karl Urban really delivers on the humor and attitude, we might be looking at one of the biggest highlights of the sequel. But now, the real question, does Karl Urban's Johnny Cage work for you? Is he living up to expectations, or are you still not convinced? Let me know in the comments. Ed Boon also emphasized something huge. The outcome of the tournament will directly impact the future of the entire franchise. And honestly, that's not surprising. The tournament has always been the heart of the MK story. Skipping it in the first movie was one of the most debated creative choices. Instead of diving straight into the iconic battles, the first movie focused on the lead-up, which left a lot of fans feeling like they were watching a prequel rather than the main event. Insiders claim that the tournament won't just be limited to a single movie. According to leaks, the fight could extend beyond the sequel and set up a direct continuation in Mortal Kombat 3. And if you've been following my channel, you already know I called this almost a year ago. The original plan for the trilogy always seemed to follow a clear structure. Part 1. Introduce the world and the Arcana concept through its original protagonist, Cole Young. Part 2. Deliver the tournament fans have been waiting for. Part 3. Focus on the war with Khan. Speaking of Khan, we've already gotten our first look at him, and it's pretty clear he's set up to be the Thanos of this trilogy. But if they really want to make his presence felt and leave a killer cliffhanger leading into the prequel, they can't just treat him like some generic final boss. He needs to be more than just a brute force warlord. According to insider reports, live-action Shao Kahn is being developed as a complex character with his own moral code and even philosophical beliefs. Based on leaked dialogue snippets, his entire worldview revolves around the idea that strength is everything and weakness deserves only elimination. He's essentially pushing an extreme form of Darwinism, a survival of the fittest mentality taken to its brutal extreme. How much of Shao Kahn will we actually see? Insiders say his role will be relatively small in the sequel, likely setting him up as the major antagonist of Mortal Kombat 3. But even with limited screen time, if they establish him correctly, he could end up being one of the most memorable villains in the entire franchise. What really makes Martin Ford's character even more compelling is his connection to Kitana. Insiders have hinted that her storyline will add even more depth to the film, with some early viewers even calling her the real protagonist of Two Malawian Quatches. That's a huge shift, and if done right, it could give the sequel a level of emotional weight that the first film was missing. Before filming even started, producer Todd Garner hyped up Scorpion's role in Mortal Kombat 2, promising that he would be a crucial character and that his presence would grow with each installment. Naturally, fans expected Hanzo to play a bigger part in the sequel. But according to early viewers, his storyline actually gets cut down significantly, leaving a lot of his potential frustratingly unexplored. That being said, one thing we do know is that the long-awaited fight between Scorpion and Noob is happening in the sequel. And based on what we've seen so far, it's very possible that the newly revealed shot is from that very battle. Despite Scorpion's confirmed return, the real focus of the sequel seems to be shifting toward Kitana and Johnny Cage. Mortal Kombat 2 is already getting some heat for its ending, or rather, its lack of an ending. According to leaks, the film doesn't set up future sequels in any meaningful way. That's a bold and maybe risky choice considering the franchise's long-term potential. On top of that, a lot of characters seem to be getting sidelined, which is rubbing some fans the wrong way. But let's talk about what is working. The fight scenes? Absolutely brutal. Khan's betrayal? Already shaping up to be a highlight. These elements are earning the sequel some serious praise, even among fans who are frustrated with other aspects. It's important to remember that these test screenings are happening almost a year before the movie's official release. Studios do this so they can gauge audience reactions and, if necessary, make adjustments. That being said, while certain scenes might get tweaked or trimmed, the overall plot structure is already locked in. There's no time for a major rewrite, so at this point, we have a pretty clear idea of what to expect from Two Malawian Quatches. It's a direct continuation of the first part. Nothing drastically different, just more of the same with a few extra fan-favorite characters thrown into the mix. Whether that's a good thing or not, well, that's up for debate. Aside from Kitana and Shao Kahn, the sequel will introduce Jade, Queen Sindel, Quan Chi, King Jared, Baraka. Diving even deeper into the lore, the real challenge will be balancing all these new characters without turning them into glorified cameos. We've seen franchises bite off more than they can chew before, and the last thing Mortal Kombat needs is another round of wasted potential. But it's not just the newcomers making waves. The returning characters are just as exciting. Ed Boon has confirmed that the sequel will finally explore the Netherrealm, explaining how certain fighters can come back from the dead. This means the concept of the Revenants will play a major role, opening the door for Joe Taslim's Baihan to officially rise as Noob Saibot. And he's not the only one making a comeback. Kano is officially returning, along with Kung Lao, once again played by Max Wong. With the Netherrealm in the mix, the fallen warriors from the first film are about to get a whole new purpose as the tournament unfolds. Final thoughts. At the end of the day, Mortal Kombat 2 still has a real shot at success. The franchise is too iconic to just fade away, even after the first film's missteps. If the sequel can deliver on its promise, it might finally be the movie we've been waiting for. For now, all we can do is wait. The first trailer is just around the corner, and the movie itself is officially set to hit theaters on October 24th, which means we've got about 6 months to go. Stay tuned.